By the way, our chairman had to go vote, and I'm going to have to go do that after I introduce Mr. Braniff. Mr. Braniff is the Director of Polarization and Extremism Research and Innovation Lab at American University, where he's working on research and programming to prevent violent extremism, targeted violence, and the drivers of polarization in American society. I also want to note that he's a graduate of the United States Military Academy at Westpoint and served as a company commander in the U.S. Army. Mr. Braniff.
Chairman Schmidt, Ranking Member Welsh, distinguished senators, thank you for your leadership on this critical issue and the opportunity to testify today. 26 years ago, I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution. I've spent my career honoring that oath as an Army officer, a terrorism researcher, and leading prevention programs at the Department of Homeland Security. It's a lifelong commitment to protect kids and schools, families and faith communities, public spaces and workplaces, and the democratic institutions and freedoms our founders gave us. This isn't about politics or party for me. It never has been. I'm here representing a community of like-minded practitioners, law enforcement, mental health, educators, veterans, who work every day to prevent violence before it destroys families and communities. We're united by a simple belief: targeted violence is preventable, and American communities deserve better than waiting for the next attack. We should all condemn targeted violence. It's tragic, unethical, and illegal. I want to start by acknowledging the threats, the loss, and the fear that too many Americans and too many elected officials have experienced. But we should also not mistake the blame game for advancing solutions. Solutions must be based on data and evidence. Solutions must focus on preventing political violence in the first place, instead of reacting after the damage has been done. And solutions must reinforce our constitutionally protected freedoms, not erode them. To inform policymaking, Congress legislated that the executive branch provide data on terrorism and targeted violence. DHS contracted with START at the University of Maryland to produce the T2V data set, although the administration abruptly canceled funding in March. START data demonstrate clearly that violent events do not fit neatly into any one ideological category, and that there has been an alarming increase in attacks and credible plots in the United States, including over a 2,000% increase in mass casualty plots since the early 1990s. We average more than 2.5 attacks and credible plots per day in the U.S., and over 50% of them succeed. They occurred in over 1,200 U.S. towns and cities. This year, compared to last year, terrorism events are up 67% and fatalities are up nearly 150%. Americans are dying from ISIS-inspired, white supremacist, anti-Semitic, anti-government, anti-vax, anti-law enforcement, and nihilistic attacks. So these data highlight 3 challenges that we need to solve for. The volume problem. With 2.6 events per day, we are at risk of accepting targeted violence as inevitable. It is not. It is preventable. The structural gap problem. These plots succeed 55% of the time. The structural gap is due to appropriate limitations placed on criminal justice investigations to protect privacy, civil liberties, freedom of speech, and freedom of association. So we can't fill the structural gap with criminal justice-only solutions and maintain the freedoms enshrined in our Constitution. And third, the reality is that targeted violence manifests in many different forms of terrorism, hate crime, and school shootings. Any approach that only addresses one manifestation will be both operationally ineffective and fiscally inefficient. At DHS, I led prevention programs that partnered federal resources with local teams, sheriffs who knew their counties, schools who knew their students, mental health professionals who knew their patients, pastors who knew their congregations. Local Americans protecting local communities. This allowed us to engage in early interventions that addressed all of the challenges I mentioned. Volume, we supported nearly 1,200 interventions for people on the pathway to violence. 0 committed violence while in the program. We filled the structural gap and bridged to public safety. In 94% of the cases, the individuals received support from mental health professionals, social workers, or other helping professionals. 6% were referred to law enforcement. Most of the individuals, 70%, were not yet self-medicating on any one specific ideology when they came to us, just angry, isolated, and struggling. And yet, without indexing our programs on any one ideology, the intervention succeeded across all ideologies, making this approach both effective and cost-effective. Nearly 1,200 people at risk of hurting themselves and others. But before families had to bury loved ones, we invested in prevention instead. Political violence threatens our constitutional order, but not just the violence, also how we respond to it. Whether we choose to do what works, quietly investing in scaling up prevention efforts, or we feed political polarization that makes Americans less safe and erodes our Constitution. Americans deserve, and the Constitution demands, the former. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Michael Knowles. Michael Knowles is the celebrated host of the Michael Knowles Show on the Daily Wire, as well as the Book Club on PragerU. He has published 2 #1 national best-selling books, including Speechless, A History and Analysis of the American Free Speech Tradition. Michael has received numerous awards, including the Conservative Mind Award for the American Conservative Magazine and an honorary doctorate of Humane Letters from Ave Maria University. Michael is a graduate of Yale and has lectured at universities and research institutions around the world. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman Schmidt, Ranking Member